Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Too Many Voices podcast. I am your host, John J. Laughlin, and it is May the 10th, 2023. I'd like to welcome everyone back, and I hope that everyone is feeling happy, healthy, and wealthy and moving forward in life. So, tonight's topic is self-worth and taking your power back. Now, being a recovering alcoholic and drug addict, and I will be discussing addiction issues at great length in some of these podcasts in the future, but being a recovering alcoholic and drug addict, I have found myself at rock bottom many times. Many times I woke up face down on the floor, waking up from a blackout, covered in piss and vomit, and freaking the fuck out because I couldn't remember who I had talked to the day before and what I said and get my phone number changed and all that shit. Horrendous nightmare, and feeling completely worthless and disempowered and without any shred of self-respect whatsoever. I can remember a time that I hated myself so much, just so full of resentment and anger and frustration with myself, that I would just walk by the bathroom mirror, catch a glimpse of myself, punch out the fucking mirror, and then proceed to punch myself in the face till I would bleed, or punch myself in the face and give myself black eyes. And I did that on numerous occasions. That was like a normal thing for me. And all that stems from, early childhood trauma. I went through a very crazy divorce when my parents, when they got divorced. And they were 7 years they were apart, then they got back together, which that was weird, right? I'm the only one that I know that's happened to. But I just, I didn't feel loved at all. And so what I have found at the core of self-worth and feeling self-empowered is self-love. I mean, do you love yourself unconditionally? Do you accept yourself 100%, flaws and all, And having gone through a spiritual awakening, which hasn't stopped. It happened to me New Year's Eve of 2019. So the last 4 years have been incredible, and that's an understatement. But very painful at times, because I was forced. I didn't have a choice really. To all these traumas and deep-seated issues that I haven't just shoved down and didn't look at, just swept it under the carpet. But I was forced to look at these things and finally heal these wounds, so I could empower myself and feel worthy. And just doing the inner work on myself, it's tremendous. I feel like I've crossed the finish line now. I've come into complete union with myself, and I have a beautiful relationship with God and, my spirit team. And so, I feel like I won, right? And I'm good, I'm good just being me. I'm good, I've always been introverted and alone, but now I'm like good alone, you know what I mean? I don't dwell on shit. I don't live in the past anymore. And I think that's a huge thing too that keeps people disempowered, is living in the past, reliving these karmic thought loops about shit you did 10, 15 years ago or what was done to you. And that will definitely keep you in a disempowered state of mind and feeling unworthy. I think I touched on this story in the last podcast, but yeah, I remember 6 years ago, I locked myself in a hotel room in Northern California, snorting coke, pounding booze, and banging hookers, when Backpage was a thing. That was a low point in my life. And, I can dwell on that and be like, man, I was really seedy and a piece of shit. Or, I can look now, I'm like, man, look how far I've come. Complete 180, And that whole incident was because I didn't love myself, Like, yeah, it's crazy, like, what not having any self-love will do to you. But now, I can look in the mirror, look myself in the eyes, and say, I love you, and really fucking mean it from the heart. And that's a wonderful feeling. Self-love is the best gift you can give yourself. It's great to have a partner, okay? But so many relationships, for me in the past, I gave my power away, seeking validation outside of myself, giving my power away to someone else to love me, right? Because I didn't love myself. and putting myself in that disempowered, unworthy state of being. So again, it's like I'm good now. So I wrote down a few things that I think could, and these are things that I do for myself, but things that could help somebody, raise their vibration, give yourself a sense of self-worth and self-empowerment. And, I'm a high-level empath, too. And being an empath, and speaking for empaths in general, we tend to attract people into our lives, generally narcissists, or people with narcissistic tendencies. And narcissists, they're unhealed, they're broken, too. But they cannot take any accountability for their actions, and they want to blame everybody else for their fucking problems. And then they want to nitpick you and rip you down to their level to make you feel like them because they're not healed. And it's amazing, too, like a narcissist, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, like someone like me, I consider myself, pretty kind, compassionate, loving person. They consider that weakness. Motherfucker, please. It's easy to rip somebody down. It's easy to make somebody feel like shit. It takes courage to love people unconditionally and have kindness and compassion for yourself and others and your enemies. Okay? I don't want to hear that shit. Fucking weakness, man. Kiss my ass. All right. So, focusing on a service to others. That is huge for feeling self-empowered and worthy. Hone in, I think I said this already, but hone in on your innate giving gifts and talents. And do those things every single day that you're passionate about. That will keep your vibration high and not only help you, but also bring joy and perhaps making someone else feel worthy and empowered. Maybe you like to paint, maybe you like to play music, maybe you want to do a podcast. But being able to hone in on your gifts and then giving those to other people or to the world, it's a beautiful thing. And again, self-love. Take the time every day to show yourself some love, self-care. For me, it's martial arts training. I do yoga, breath work, meditation, prayer. I can't stress prayer, meditation enough. Stay close to God. Following a disciplined spiritual path and lifestyle. Again, even if you don't feel like it, force yourself to do it. I've had to do that many times, after a long day of work, feeling dead ass tired, but then I would force myself to go out and train or go take a walk in nature, read a great book that empowers you. It's little things, and focus on these three main aspects: body, mind, and spirit. You have to have a healthy body for a healthy mind and a healthy mind for a healthy spirit. And if any one of those is out of balance, well, then the whole system's, off kilter. So you're going to have to realign yourself and hone in on those things that you need to work on. And that just comes with being more self-aware, about your internal state of being and where you may feel, disempowered, I guess. Allowing and making space for healthy and fulfilling relationships to enter your life. Now, this is a big one for me because I am very introverted. I have been crossed, fucked over so many times. It's very difficult for me to let people into my life, especially after a recent incident. Actually, not really, because, fuck those people. I can read energy from people in 2 seconds. I'm able to walk into a room and read that energy, and if anything feels off, I just turn around and walk out. I've had to do that many times in the past. But also for me, I lived a very crazy, more or less outlaw lifestyle up until about 10 years ago. And, ran with some very dangerous people, doing crazy fuck shit. And, opening that door to be fucked over and used and abused by other people because that's who you're running with, you know what I'm saying? So being very self-aware and discerning about the people that come in your life. Now, you know, when new people approach me, I check them right there, you know. But this is a vital aspect of being a human being, having healthy relationships with other people, friendships, intimate relationships. And for me, that's always been very difficult. Even before, you know, I just ventured off and lived this crazy life, you know. But that, you know, that's one I really stress too. And that's something I'm really working on for myself right now is developing new friendships and, you know, allowing a partner to come into my life whenever that happens and really honing in all that. Because my past relationships, you know, I didn't just burn bridges. It was straight up, I carpet bombed those motherfuckers, right? And, you know, like during my first marriage, like before I got married, like I was single for 6 years, like no sex, nothing. And still running around these crazy fucking people. And I was one of them, still doing the same fuck shit. And my wife at the time, she was, that world of her was as foreign as fuck. And, you know, here I come along and we fall in love, but I was like nowhere near ready to take on the responsibility of a marriage. I mean, emotionally, I was, you know, a 10-year-old. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know, and I didn't understand the word compromise. And she so happened to be a covert narcissist, and I hadn't studied any of that. I didn't know anything about narcissism at the time. I paid no mind to any material on relationships or love or anything, because I thought true love didn't exist. And I had no intentions of ever getting married or having an intimate relationship. You know, I was like, fuck all that shit. You know, but it happened. Okay, life happened. And I was not prepared for it. And it ended up being a very toxic relationship. Gave my power away a lot in that relationship because I think I mentioned this already, but I was seeking validation outside of myself for someone else to love me. And this relationship should have been over after the first month. But we pushed it. Because here's the thing, you know, being an empath, if you're an empath and in a relationship with a narcissist, the narcissist is not going to leave the relationship. You have to leave because you're their supply. Because you're providing them, if you're an empath, you're providing them with that loving, nurturing, compassion, kindness, that kind of mothering energy that they never got. You know? So I had to really, that situation really taught me about self-empowerment, not giving my power away, and feeling worthy enough that to leave that relationship. And I did. You know, I damn near drank myself to death. You know, it was a really, really bad time. And I've had to really look at these past experiences from a higher perspective. These things like that, they come into our lives to teach us lessons. Hence the term karmic relationship. It's teaching lessons about yourself and the other person. You know, that kind of test you to see what you've learned about relationships. What have you learned about yourself? And during that time, I learned that I had no shred of self-worth or feeling self-empowered. I definitely didn't love myself. And so that situation taught me a lot about what I needed to work on. And I mean, after the divorce, I think I filled up, geez, I don't know, man, maybe 23 section notebooks, just journaling about everything. And that was 15 years ago. That's when I really started to work on myself a little bit. And, you know, with me, like I would start doing the work, and then of course things would come up and I would stop and I'd say, fuck this. Next thing you know, I would be out doing the same shit, you know, drinking, doing a lot of drugs, just pushing that shit deeper and deeper and deeper until, you know, it festered again. And just a horrible cycle. I mean, just a spiraling out of control cycle that went on for years and years and years. And again, at the core of all that is self-love. If you truly love yourself and living in the present moment, life is a very beautiful, beautiful journey. But if you're caught in that, negative thought cycle, those thought patterns, and feeling disempowered and unworthy, oh my God, it's I don't know, it's like the cross between the Twilight Zone and God, I can't even think of a good metaphor for that. Yeah, it's like a horror show / Twilight Zone episode. It's horrendous. Maintaining healthy boundaries with everyone. This is a big one too that I've had to learn over the years. Because as an empath, even if you know someone isn't good for you, like good for your highest good, you still may push it because you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. And now I'm at a point in my life. I mean, even before this recent incident that happened to me with this group of fuckheads, like I draw a line in the sand now. Always. And if you cross that line, if you fuck me over, try to use me in any way, abuse me, whether it's spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or physically, then it's done. You don't get a second chance. I don't give a fuck what your sob story is, and fuck your feelings. Okay? No, that sounds so harsh, Josh. Yeah, but it's the fucking truth, and that's the way you have to be, or people will walk all over you and treat you like a doormat. I mean, I've had incidents where I was very assertive with someone. Like, I was nice about it. Like, okay, here's how I feel. Here's where I'm coming from. And the other person keeps pushing anyway. And now it's like, motherfucker, you do that. And then we're going to the mats. I mean, that's just the way I've had to be over the years. And it sucks, too, man. I don't want to cross that line. But I'm to a point, I mean, no fucks given. I will go to that ass, I mean, it's not spiritually healthy to let someone physically transgress against you. It's not spiritually healthy to let someone talk down to you, to treat you like a doormat and make you feel like you're less than nothing. It is not spiritually healthy to let someone spiritually bully you in the 3D or the 5D. Go back and listen to my podcast on spiritual warfare and what happened to me recently. And, I will take no prisoners, man, when it comes to me and my life or the people that I care about. It's like, fuck around and find out. You fuck with me, you're going to get fucked with back. And sometimes it's better not to react, and that's what I had to do in this last situation I was in. I mean, when you're dealing with a pack of narcissists, that's the best thing you can do is just don't react. These people will destroy themselves from the inside out. You know what I'm saying? Just let them fight amongst themselves. That's pretty much what happened. So, anyway, a lot of lessons learned in this situation as well. Protecting your energy from energy and psychic vampires. This is absolutely imperative for maintaining a sense of worthiness and self-empowerment, defending your energy. So, throughout the day, when you're out and about, you're sharing your auric field with everyone else that comes in to that auric field. What is it, within 6 feet? Okay? That's why sometimes you can go to the grocery store, just be out and about, and get home and feel completely drained. Because there was some energy vampire lurking in the fucking frozen food aisle at the grocery store, and somehow, their energy attached to you and draining your energy. So it's a good idea to learn how to cleanse your energy every single day. Do a cord cutting ceremony every single day. I do. I'm religious about it. But your energy is priceless. I'm very discerning about who I share my time and energy with now. Because having your energy drained, and there are some people you get around, you get away from them and get home like, man, Jim's, he's a real fucking bummer. I just think I'll just, keep my distance. We'll hang out once in a while, have a beer. Well, I won't have a beer. We'll smoke a joint once in a while and, whatever. But, it can't be around that, whatever. But you get what I'm saying. And then there's real, energy vampires, psychic vampires, where, if you're around these people, I mean, it feels like somebody took the batteries out of you, man. It's like the Energizer Bunny got shot in the fucking head, right? I mean, that's what I felt like when I was around these people recently. I mean, just drained, man. And that, I mean, of course, will take your power away and leave you feeling, I don't want to say worthless. I didn't really feel worthless, but I definitely had no energy, right? And I don't think I was disempowered, although that's what they were trying to do. But they did not succeed because I would not allow that to happen. It's all a choice in the end, right? So just be very discerning, be very specific about who you hang around, and I mean you become like the 5 people you're around the most. That's a psychological fact. So keep that in mind. That alone should make you self-aware enough. You look around like, man, I'm hanging around a bunch of fucking idiots. I'll just be alone. How about that? Let's go be alone, sit under a tree and read a book. And yep, fuck these people. That's the way you gotta be. I'm just telling it like it is, man. I'm speaking from my experiences. This is what these podcasts are about. This is my truth. Okay, see where I'm at here. Bear with me. Okay, yeah, cutting out people, places, and things, your environment. That, of course, again, going back to being a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. I've been in and out of rehabs a lot over the years. And so that's one thing they pound into your head in every single rehab, sober living house, or, detox center. People, places, and things. But it's so fucking true. And not just for alcoholics and drug addicts, for just, quote unquote normal people. This is why so many people relapse after getting out of rehab. I mean, you're in a vacuum in a rehab, first of all. You're feeling worthless and disempowered anyway when you go into that motherfucker. But then, you're getting sobered up, you're hanging around people, telling war stories and fucking laughing and carrying on. And you start to get a shred of dignity back and feeling worthy and feeling empowered, like, yeah, I got this shit. And then you get back out into the world and get back to where you were living, or, I always tell people now, if you're going into rehab, make sure you got a plan when you get out to move out of the fucking town you were living in. Have some type of pre-plan made to live somewhere else, hopefully in a more progressive area where you don't know anybody, so you can start with a clean slate. Like, seriously. Because you get out of rehab, and then you end up hanging around the same disempowered, people with no self-worth, no self-love motherfuckers who are still drinking and drugging, and then you're right back in with them. People, places, things. So true. I mean, it was like that in the town I grew up in, for sure. I could not set foot in it for a long, long fucking time, man. Because that's all there was to do where I grew up, was just get fucked up. And, that town, it's got a serious issue with drugs and addiction anyway. And a lot of my friends that I grew up with aren't on this planet anymore, or they're strung out, whatever. I have no idea. I've lost contact with these people over the years. But definitely, don't allow yourself to, get dragged into these disempowering environments. I think throughout all of this, what I can really drive home here is self-love, self-discernment, right? Self-awareness. Those are the big ones. Self-awareness, be very discerning at all times of your environment, who's in it. Really developed the ability to, this is where meditation comes in, but let's say something is triggering you, giving you that kind of disempowered, shitty feeling, you know what I'm saying? And being able to really go within and meditate and figure out what is triggering you. Is it within you? Is it unhealed trauma coming to the surface that's making you feel this way? Or is it something in your immediate environment? Is it a person, place, or thing that is causing these feelings? But exercising that power of discernment and self-awareness and self-love, that is where you will start to build up in your sense of self-worth, feeling empowered, and I think that's a good place to leave it. It's all on you, okay? You feeling self-empowered, loved, it is all on you. Your healing is up to you. And I'll leave you guys with this. Don't be afraid to shine your light brightly wherever you go. That will definitely give you a sense of self-worth and self-empowerment. If you got a beautiful gift to give the world, give it. Don't let anyone dim your light. And they can't. Only you can. Only if you give your power away can somebody dim your light. Shine your light bright. Shine it so bright it blinds a motherfucker. You know? All right, everybody. Keep those internal lights shining. Love yourselves. Love each other. Take care of yourselves. And peace until the next one. Have a good night.